as well as the environmental positives, the developers say it's the personal touch that people like.
80% of the people of that whole time have not had to wait for a pod. There's one been waiting for them. The average wait time is less than 15 seconds. So it's an on-demand personal transport system.
And unlike other driverless technology featured on the show, these pods actually run on traditional tracks, or driveways as the developers call it. So is it really just a personal train that we're looking at?
We're not trying to compete with trains, subways, monorails, because they're mass transit systems. They to carry a lot of people from one point to another and pick people up in between and drop people off in between. And that's gathering people together so you've got enough to carry and then taking them to a station and then dumping them there so they can get elsewhere. Our job is to connect those systems.
The developers insist the benefits of a track system outweigh the initial cost of building it, makes it safer, and means a driverless system can be built right now. It also means the project can go anywhere as each track is tailor-made. And that's where the connection to Amritsar, India, comes in.
Amritsar, again, has got a unique problem. It's the city that holds the Sikh Golden Temple, and they have upwards of 100,000 pilgrims a day going to the Golden Temple. It's a medieval city, very limited road space, very congested, and therefore any motor traffic is limited to coming within, I think it's a kilometre of the Golden Temple.
And it's not just India where these pods could become commonplace.
We've just completed a feasibility study for a city in Brazil. In Taiwan, we've been approached by the representatives of the Taiwanese government, and we're looking at there, assessing our technology for potential use there.
For all the seeming restrictions of being on a track and being under constant surveillance and monitoring, this is a driverless technology that we can use right now, and it could be the one of the future. But what about the competition?
There are other contenders. There's a big market out there, so we're happy for competition. As long as people start thinking in terms of there are alternatives to the standard transport systems.
And others are thinking about alternatives. Singapore's Navia is the city-state's first ever electric and driverless shuttle service that is designed to provide a safe, reliable and environmentally friendly transportation. The shuttles ply a predetermined, pre-programmed 2-kilometre route, carry up to 8 passengers and have a top speed of 20.1 kilometres per hour. They use a number of laser mapping units, along with optical cameras, to generate a real-time 3D map of the environment. The cameras and lasers also allow the shuttle to avoid obstacles, stay in the correct lane, and more importantly, keep it from mowing down tourists. Once the shuttle has completed its route, it automatically heads to its wireless fast charging station without needing any rails, overhead lines or wires embedded in the roads to function. These aren't meant to replace traditional transportation systems. Instead, the designers hope the buggies will be integrated into already existing systems and will specifically alleviate the first mile, last mile transport problem that can create bottlenecks in urban cities. But just what will we be doing in a world where we don't have to drive? This is a future look at an in-car infotainment system from Nava. The South Korean IT company envisions a world where we're interconnected with our cars. Where we can pre-program GPS systems before we even get to the car park and tailor the preferred route. Need to stop off at a florist or the jeweler? No problem. You need to finish that all-important report for work. Consider it done. The big question, though, is which infotainment system will you rely on? Will it come from the automakers or the entertainment companies? But it isn't just in-car entertainment that will change. Time to talk to an author who believes trillions of dollars will be up for grabs in the advent of a driverless society. Chankamui is co-author of the new Killer Apps, How Large Companies Can Out-Innovate Startups. The driverless car will transform society, the economy and individual businesses. It unleashes existential challenges to market leaders across numerous industries.
Here in the States, we have about $2.3 trillion that flows through the car-related economy. $100 billion to Tier 1 suppliers, $250 billion to automakers, $600 billion to new and used car dealers, $200 billion to auto insurers, and so on. And once the fundamental nature of the car and how we operate it changes, a lot of that money won't need to be spent, or it will go up and be competed for in new ways.
People consistently underestimate the implications of a fundamental change in technology.
In the U.S., it's estimated that the direct and opportunity costs related to car accidents amount to almost $450 billion a year. So imagine once we have dramatically fewer accidents because driverless cars take away the human error element of those accidents, you're going to see a lot of that money not need to be spent. So imagine millions of less people needing to go to hospitals, tens or hundreds of billions of dollars less being spent on car repairs, new cars because of car accidents, auto insurance because of the level of accidents. So that's the first step.
Will insurers survive their collision with the driverless car?
Again, let's look at the States. Here we spend about $200 billion a year on car insurance premiums. And the business model of auto insurers is really to make money off of investing those dollars. We give them $200 billion, they invest it for a while, make money off of that, and eventually pay most of it back in terms of claims for accidents. As the number of accidents go down, the amount of premiums go down. It's just an actuarial fact. So auto insurers will be competing for a whole lot less in terms of premium dollars. And it's going to ignite a tremendous, really fierce competition amongst them, and most of them won't survive.
While car sales will initially boom, as the fleet shifts to driverless cars, sales will then fall off a cliff.
In the short term, driverless car technology is good for automakers because what it creates is a whole pipeline of new safety-related features, and experience has shown that consumers will pay for safety. The problem comes in the longer term when driverless cars enable essentially massive car sharing, where instead of individual ownership of cars, you can have a driverless taxi be able to go from passenger to passenger, and the people don't have to buy cars. In that case, the traditional business model of automakers really has to change.
Driverless cars might also spark enormous new revenue opportunities.
I'll give you a couple of examples. Commercial real estate. You know, if we have driverless cars and massive car sharing, and people don't need to drive their cars in the city centers, you're going to have a lot of premium real estate open up because you won't need those big parking lots. So you're going to have a massive inflow of inventory into that market. That'll create opportunity and they'll create challenges. Another really interesting secondary effect is around home delivery. If you have driverless vehicles, it'll be very easy to deliver and cheap to deliver goods to consumers, and that's going to change. That's going to create, I think, a massive disruption and opportunity in the retail sector.
And there is one industry already seeing change. It's time to get trucking. It's a familiar sight all across the globe, a fleet of trucks in a convoy transporting goods. But these test trucks in Japan are different. Developed by the country's new Energy and Industrial Technology Development Organization, NEDO, a government research program, they drive at a constant speed of 80 kilometers an hour in a perfectly straight line, and at exactly the same distance apart of 4 meters. The result? The convoy creates a slipstream that reduces drag and cuts fuel usage by up to 15%. And it's all done with only one driver in the very first vehicle. All 4 trucks are equipped with cameras, radar and a communication system to coordinate their movements. NEDO hopes to have a practical version of this automated driving system ready by around 2020, and even foresees a time when that one lone driver will no longer be required. you now with this, a professional take on what industry or sector you need to include in your portfolio right now to make money in the future.
There is a sizable minority out there who actually enjoy driving cars. So there is a real buzz to driving. Some people, maybe the investment of the future, maybe into racetracks.
I think we've got to look at the technology leaders in the sector. So, I mean, whether it be the premium players like BMW, Volkswagen, or Daimler, or perhaps the suppliers like Continental, who are certainly at the forefront of some of these developments. They are the best ways to play this.
All the technology companies, Google is probably the most vocal one. Technology is going to be much less about the car and much more about the environment. First, the highway company which will be able to put together infrastructure to ensure that cars being driven driverless will have a edge.